Hello and welcome to another Parts Factory installation tutorial video. Today we're working on this D40 Nissan Navara. Super duper common problem, the clock spring that sits behind the steering wheel of the vehicle. This job's going to be fairly straightforward. There's a few little niggly bits in and around the back of the wheel, how to pop the steering horn pad off, aligning the clock spring up nice and straight so it doesn't tear it too far in one direction and break the clock spring. But other than that, it's going to be pretty straightforward. I reckon 20 minutes to get the job done. Guys, before we continue, I will remind you we have this product available on our website. I'm going to chuck the link in the top right corner. I'm going to stick it in the bio of this video. I think they're $83.30, free express post anywhere in Australia. So you really can't beat that, guys. Alrighty, first things first, we're going to start by disconnecting the battery. So get that job done just for safety. Let the battery drain down for 5 minutes, and then yeah, we'll get into the job. Right, so just pop your bonnet open. Obviously you want to be removing your negative terminal off your battery. Ours doesn't have a battery in here, ignore that, but yeah, remove your negative terminal. It's just a 10mm. Move it off to the side and then allow the car to just drain all of the electrical potential out of the system, and then yeah, you're good to go. Right, this is the horn pad we've got to remove. The clock springs behind this unit. It's fairly straightforward, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the steering wheel to the side, and I want you to just pay attention down in this hole here. Where is it? Just there. You can see that little metal spring there, that little metal spring. Literally all you got to do is push that in. So you push that in that direction. At the same time, you just give this a nice little tap, just like that. Right, so we're just going to bring our steering wheel back straight again. Now you can see you've got access to this little yellow plug here. You want to be pretty delicate with this. Basically that little black part just pops up. See how it pops up out of the yellow part of the plug, and then you can just lever it out just like that. Again, the black part of the plug just pops up and out, and then the yellow part can come out with it. It wraps onto here, so you can just pull it off there, and then you have this horn wire, which you just depress this little plug. You should just be able to slide it off like that. Chuck this out of your way. Right, the next part of the job is to make sure your steering wheel is completely straight. We're now going to take this 19mm socket and we're just going to undo the steering wheel bolt. Take it all the way off and then just put it back on a little bit, just like so. We can now give the steering wheel a pull without the steering wheel hitting you in the face. So what you actually do, you give it a bit of a wobble from left to right, just like that, and then you can just give it a nice thud back, and you'll see now the wheel's just sitting there like that. Now we're going to undo the plug off the clock spring. Just in here you can see a little plug there, guys. You can just depress that little plug and pull the plug out like that. It stays here on the steering wheel. Now time to take the nut completely off the steering wheel, moving it to the side. You can now pull your wheel off, pulling the yellow tab through the wheel, and of course placing the steering wheel out of your way. Right, we're now going to move our seat back a little bit just so we can access this area a bit more. And if you come to the bottom, you'll find the little Torx bits in the bottom of this shroud. That's one. You can just bring it out like that. It is a T20, by the way. We're going to leave these little screws here, one here, and then you'll find this shroud will now just pop off. Might get stuck there a little bit, but just wiggle it all out. The top one, we'll bring this back down like this, and then you can just, same thing again, just pull it out of your way, stick it in the back. So here's your clock spring here. Now the clock spring is one with the indicator stalk and your wiper stalk, but they can just pop off like so. So you can stick that on the ground. Same thing here, little tabs, pop them out of your way. Just for the video's sake, I'm going to completely remove mine. That way you can see what I'm doing clearly. Move it out of your way. So this is the part we're removing here, this whole section here. And in order to do that, you need a Phillips head screwdriver. Right, it's now time to crack the Phillips head screws, which attach the clock spring to the steering column. You can just loosen them off and then leave them in there. Loosen them off, And then at the top there's a little clip and you can just pull it off like that. Pulling these plugs off one by one using your flathead screwdriver. Just push down on the tab. 1 and 2. And that's it, guys. Right, it's now time to reassemble our new clock spring. This is the one that we sell here at Parts Factory Australia. As you can see, it's a direct OEM replica. They come pre-aligned, so it's just literally placed straight on. You can see the plugs are all the same, front and back. And yeah, it's super duper easy process. So let's start reassembling it. First things first, we remember we've got our 2 different plugs here. The yellow one and then the grey one, and they just kind of push in on top of each other like Tetris. And you can bring your clock spring up. You can actually just push it onto the car and it'll sit there because of that top part. Nice and tight. On each side. It's now time to reinstall the 2 indicator and wiper stalks. So you can just plug it in, clip it in. Super straightforward. Same thing over here. They just clip in like so. Right, so once you're up to this point, you can now go ahead and start to reassemble the column. You literally just tuck it over like so. Doesn't really sit there that well, but once we bring in the bottom section, hopefully it'll sit there a bit better. Bring that piece in like so. Even if you've got to bring it back up like that, you can just, bit of a tight squeeze, but yeah, it eventually goes, and then rise it up into place, just like so. Now you can actually bring it back down, so it's got a bit more space for you, and clip them together. 1 and 2, like that. You can actually hear it all clip together nicely. And then of course you've got those 2 Torx bits which hold it all together underneath, and it'll pull it down into place. The second one's over here. 2 like so. Now at this point, the steering wheel is actually ready to go back on. So you can bring your wheel forward, and then basically you tuck the yellow cable through the center hole, and then you bring the steering wheel nice and straight, and you just don't forget to take this little plastic piece off. Bring the steering wheel nice and straight, and it just pops in like that. And the clock spring actually lines up in this top hole here as well, so you really can't get that one too wrong. Now your little plug plugs into the clock spring, so it's ready to go. And then of course the bolt, which is that 19 mil. Just tighten that up a bit with a little rattle gun, like here. It's got to be pretty tight, but don't overdo it. At this point, guys, that's literally it. We just plug our little horn wire back on, and of course the airbag wire, it tucks in into this little trim there, pulls around to the side, and you can just push it back into the airbag. It's a bit fiddly, but you can just push it in, and hopefully the little black part depresses back down like so. And then the horn pad, you can just bring it up nice and straight and lock it back in, and that would be job complete. Alrighty guys, all done. The whole job was done in about 15 minutes. I was pretty impressed with that. We obviously now put our battery terminal back on, tighten it back up, and at that point you can actually test to make sure your horn's working. You can test to make sure your steering wheel control's working. But other than that, it's fairly straightforward, and it's all done. Guys, again, I'll put the link the right corner at the start of the video and down in the bio. We have these products available to send to you anywhere in Australia with free express posts. So if it's something you're interested, make sure you check it out. Guys, if you have enjoyed this video and you appreciate the work we've done here for you, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It's something that you might require in the future, or maybe you might see value in this. Maybe you're a car dealer, or you buy and sell on the side. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and that way you can see all of our future uploads and you can find us again, I guess. Guys, my name is Lucas Drapes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.